if you are skinny or you're stuck in a gym and you can't see fast results, then you gotta not prioritize training harder and pushing to failure even more. And you might think you're training like a bitch and that's why you're not building muscle. I'm telling you right now, you need to be training smarter in order to maximize your testosterone levels and your hormones to build muscle way easier than you did before. Now you might think, oh, why is testosterone so important for muscle growth? And the reason why is because testosterone has been evolutionarily adapted for men to survive and pass on their genes. In order to pass on your genes and compete with other males, you needed to be big and strong. So one of testosterone's main effects is to make men stronger and build more muscle. Now you watching behind the screen right now most likely has either average or low testosterone levels. And this is backed by statistics. Most men nowadays are stuck between 300 to 600 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone. And you guys might be thinking, oh, Aldo, that's actually fine, that's decent. Normal guys, average men have 500 nanograms per deciliter. But average men now do not compare nowhere near to the average men back then. So do you want to compare yourself to the average guy nowadays who doesn't even go to the gym, doesn't even lift weights, doesn't leave his house, doesn't know about sunlight and vitamin D, doesn't eat healthy, eats frozen food, plays video games, sleep deprived from his job? Is this the average man you're comparing yourself to? Is this the extent of your ambition? Before I give you the 3 steps to build more muscle, which doesn't require much effort, I want to tell you that I underwent a massive transformation when I maximized my testosterone. And this is how I used to look like. I would still train, I would still work out, do push-ups, etc. But I wouldn't really build much muscle. My face was soft, I looked non-intimidating, narrow clavicles, I was fat. Nothing was going well for me. Now fast forward 2 years, this is how I look like now. This is my physique. I build muscle way easier despite the fact that I do go to the gym, but bodybuilding is not even my main priority. My clavicles actually got wider, even though they used to be super narrow. And after you boost your testosterone, life just goes uphill. And I have a whole course explaining A to Z how I did that. Go check out the link in the description if you want more detail. Now, number 1 is actually doing compound movements. Now, this might sound counterproductive. You might think, oh, those deadlifts, those squats, those bench presses, they're all for powerlifters. Let's leave that to powerlifters because bodybuilders train isolation movements. They will do bench press, we'll do fucking pec fly, we'll do tricep extensions. And to that, my friend, I'll say, you are a fucking idiot. Because not only do we need isolation movements, we also need compound movements because they stimulate different things. Now, if you only do compound movements and you don't do any isolation movements, you'll get stronger and you still build more muscle. However, those bodybuilding muscles that you would like to grow, like your biceps, your side delt, will be a bit underdeveloped and you'll start to look more like a strongman rather than a bodybuilder. If you only do isolation movements, which a lot of you might be doing right now, you still might do some pull-ups and bench press, but most of your routine may go off as, let's say, machines, 1 or 2 muscles at a time. You don't actually stimulate testosterone production and you don't force your body to build more muscle. So I want you guys to do is actually mix those things, best of both worlds. I want you guys to do heavy compound movements in order to stimulate testosterone production, lower myostatin, increase growth hormone, etc. So I want you guys to do, let's say, fucking squats, heavy squats. And you may think it doesn't help me build muscle much, but it actually really fucking does. Let's say, for example, it's your chest day, right? Instead of just doing pec fly, you're going to do some bench press, some dips, incline dumbbell press, and then you can start doing some isolations, and then you could do your tricep extension. If you really want to isolate your chest, you could do your pec flies, etc. And number 2 is eating real foods. Eat 1 ingredient foods that benefit not only muscle growth but also for your testosterone. Testosterone and muscle growth go in hand. So anything that boosts testosterone also helps muscle growth. I want you guys to cut out foods like chicken breast and tuna and low-fat yogurt. All of these foods that bodybuilders eat, you may think it's good because they are jacked and they're eating it, so let me eat it. But this kind of logic is terrible because they could have amazing genetics, or most of the time they're just heavily on steroids. And when you're on steroids, you don't need hormones, you have synthetic hormones. So all they need to do is eat as much protein as possible, which these foods have in common. They have a ton of protein and low fat. But guess what, my friend? We need fat to produce testosterone. So don't listen to their diets. Eat foods that are high in fat, but they're also natural. Like eggs, salmon, butter, red meat. Instead of chicken, eat red meat. Instead of egg whites, eat eggs. And lastly, number 3 is recovery. Now, muscles are not built in the gym. It's built outside of the gym. So how do you recover properly in order to maximize muscle growth? What you need to do is let your body relax as much as possible. You need to do the complete opposite of what you've done in the gym. And how do you do that, you might ask? The way you do that is you sleep a lot. When I say a lot, I mean 8 to 10 hours per night. No, 7 hours is not enough. Sure, for the short term, you could get away with 7 hours, no problem. But I'm talking about long-term muscle growth and testosterone production. You need to be sleeping minimum 8 hours and usually maximum 10 hours. And a little tip I'll give you for sleep is go to bed at least 30 minutes or 1 hour before time that you do want to sleep. So let's say you want to sleep 8 hours. You have to wake up at 6 a.m. Do not go to bed at 10 p.m. You may think, oh look, I go to bed at 10 p.m, wake up at 6 a.m. Oh look, that's 8 hours. But that's not how it works. By the time you brush your teeth, go to bed, lie down, fall asleep, it's going to be around 1 hour total. So you're going to actually get 7 hours of sleep. And also counting the fact that when you do sleep, you don't go into deep restful sleep straight away. It usually takes around 20 minutes. Let's say you want to sleep 8 hours. Do not go to bed at 10 p.m. Go to bed at 9:30, depending on how quickly you sleep. And that has been the end of the video. For the last time, I wanted to mention how important testosterone is for muscle growth, strength, fat loss, and just your overall mindset. So testosterone actually goes both ways. It affects your mindset and it affects your bodies. If you want more details on that, you could go watch my other videos, or you go check out my link in the description where I made a whole course A to Z on how to get elite levels of testosterone. And I'm talking about 1,000 nanograms plus. So go check out the link in the description. There'll be more detail there. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.